Hi everyone, welcome to another tech vid. Today, I'll show you how to quickly generate a Let's Encrypt certificate directly in Sophos Zero Trust Network Access, or ZTNA. This exciting new feature allows Sophos ZTNA to handle all Let's Encrypt certificate generation and renewals. Previously, if you used a Let's Encrypt certificate for your gateways, you had to utilize another system to manually generate and renew those certificates on a regular basis, adding administrative overhead. Now, Sophos ZTNA takes care of this certificate generation process and automatically renews them within 30 days of expiration. Any renewal issues will also trigger a notification. Be aware that Let's Encrypt certificates generated through Sophos ZTNA can only be used for Sophos ZTNA gateways. They cannot be exported. If you have multiple domains using this type of certificate, the system will create a single Let's Encrypt certificate with the subject alternative names of every domain name. Today, I'll cover how to validate an existing domain, or alternatively, how to validate and add a new domain, and how to generate and assign the Let's Encrypt certificate for validated domains. Before you begin, you need admin access to your DNS provider or manager, and a license for Sophos ZTNA. Let's get started. I'll begin with validating an existing domain. If you wish to validate and add a new domain, skip ahead to the next section using the video chapters or listed timestamps. Navigate to Settings, click Domains and Certificates, then Generate LE Certificate. You're prompted with the following instructions and will need to add a new CNAME record. Previously, you had to validate your domain through TXT record, but with this new release, all new domains will validate through the new CNAME method. This step is only required if you plan to generate a Let's Encrypt certificate. Copy the CNAMEs and domain values needed to generate a certificate by clicking the Copy button. Go to your DNS provider or manager and add the new Acme Challenge CNAMEs and values to the appropriate fields. Repeat these steps for any additional domains that have already been added. The specific steps for your environment may differ, so contact your DNS provider if you need help or refer to the documentation linked in the video description. You can choose to remove the previous ZTNA TXT record, which was used for validation, or leave it as is once the new CNAME record is validated. Once you've confirmed the CNAME records have been created and added, ensure you review the Let's Encrypt subscriber agreement. Select the checkboxes to confirm, then click Continue. Once again, review the Let's Encrypt subscriber agreement prior to proceeding. Select the checkboxes to confirm. Once done, you're ready to generate the certificate. This completes the steps for validating an existing domain. I'll next cover how to validate and add a new domain. If this doesn't apply to you, skip over the next section using the chapters or timestamps in the description. If you're a new ZTNA user and/or adding a new domain, continue with the following steps. Once again, the steps for validating an existing domain were covered in the previous section. Go to Settings, click Domains and Certificates, then click Add Domain. Enter the domain you want to add and validate, then click Add. Copy the CNAME and value of the new domain by clicking the Copy button. Go to your DNS provider or manager and add the new Acme Challenge CNAME and value to the appropriate fields. The specific steps for your environment may differ, so contact your DNS provider if you need help or refer to the documentation linked in the video description. Once the CNAME is published, click Validate and confirm you've added the CNAME record by selecting the checkbox. Click Validate. Once validated, click Generate LE Certificate. Review the Let's Encrypt subscriber agreement prior to proceeding. Select the checkboxes to confirm. Once done, you're ready to generate the certificate. Now, whether you validated an existing domain first or validated and added a new domain, your next step is to click Generate to create the certificate. It can take up to 60 seconds to validate the records and initiate the certificate request, so feel free to safely navigate elsewhere while this completes. Upon success, you'll receive a confirmation. If you run into any errors when validating your domain, or after generating from the previous steps, ensure your CNAME record was added correctly. To do this, perform a DNS CNAME lookup using a website such as MX Toolbox. In this case, the CNAME could not be found, so we'll go back and confirm the CNAME record was added correctly and is using the values provided. Repeat the steps once the issue has been corrected. Once generated, simply assign the certificate to the gateway. Navigate to Gateways. Select the gateways where you want to assign the certificate. Click Certificate. Select Automatic Let's Encrypt. And click Save. And now, you've successfully generated and assigned a Let's Encrypt certificate in Sophos ZTNA. I hope you found this useful. Check out the documentation for this tech vid in the description. For further assistance, view and post questions on community.sophos.com. And go to techvids.sophos.com for more great videos like this one. Thanks for watching.